From Mitty, grade the Seahawks offensive line. I think I actually would rather just rank them amongst the NFL, which probably right around league average. I'm worried Ethan Posick at center, but the guards were upgraded. And as long, which is a big if here, as long as the likes of Dwayne Brown and Brandon Shell stay healthy, I think that they're going to be in good shape overall. From Hipster Gangster, if the Seahawks can't get a deal done with Jamal Adams, could and should they trade him? There probably is too much of the sunk cost fallacy for Seattle to actually deal Jamal Adams. Moving on, 2 first-round picks plus other assets is a lot to give up. And frankly, it would be an organizational failure if they did not get a long-term deal done. So I think they get it done. If they don't get it done and try and trade him, maybe they get a first-round pick at best back. It's not going to be what they could give up to get him because that new team has to pay Adams big-time money as well, and that always brings down the value of a player in a trade. From Omar, should the Seahawks trade for Gilmore or Howard? I mean, if you can get one, I'd rather have Xavien Howard, but if you're going to get one of those guys, as backward as this might sound, you have to pay Jamal Adams too. And you probably have to restructure Russell Wilson and others. Paying Adams, in theory, brings down his cap hit because Gilmore and Howard both want an extension, and that's going to make it expensive to pay all of those guys on that side of the ball and offense too. From Jason, can the Seahawks be top 5 or top 10 on defense? That's probably asking for a little bit too much. Now, if the cornerbacks are really good, like really good, then maybe. But with uncertainty on a defense tackle and a corner, I think league average, probably a better, more obtainable goal for Seattle. Those teams, I should say. From Jason, what Seahawks have the best shot of making the final roster at receiver? So you've got some locks on there, 3 guaranteed locks. You've got Tyler Lockett, DK Metcalf, and Dwayne Eskridge. After that, spots 4 through maybe 6 or so, a little bit more murky. I think the next best chance is bring on the name of the kid from Florida. I'll double check in a second here. I think that guy is the second best chance. I think that's the most likely outcome, that Freddie Swain, there it is, has the second best chance of making the final roster. Or not second, it's the 4th best chance. That leaves maybe 2 spots, right? For Aaron Fuller, for Cody Thompson, for Connor Weddington, for Cade Johnson, John Ursura. I want to believe in Cade Johnson. I do. Special teams over there. I think Penny Hart has a good chance too because Pete Carroll hyped him up. Beyond that, though, it's very much a complete and just massive guess at that point. From Seahawksfanatic 69, with Josh Gordon applying for reinstatement, will he rejoin the Seahawks? So Gordon has reportedly applied for reinstatement after a false report earlier this year that he did not, now he has. The Seahawks have always kept open a door for Josh Gordon. I don't know if that door is at the same level of open as it once was. Because, yes, Russell Wilson likes him, and he likes Seattle, and Gordon likes Seattle, and Seattle likes Gordon too. There's a new addition at this wide receiver room. Dwayne Eskridge is supposed to be, in theory, quickly, this team's wide receiver 3. They spent a premium draft pick on him. So if they don't think Eskridge is the guy, well, then maybe Gordon gets a call. But between Eskridge, Freddie Swain, and pick one of your other depth guys between Ursura, Penny Hart, my boy Cade Johnson, Connor Weddington, there's a lot of bodies already on this Seahawks wide receiver room. So I lean towards yes, if reinstated, the Seahawks would give Gordon a chance. I don't know for a fact, however, if he'd even make a big impact for them because I just don't know where Gordon is at in terms of his football shape and really his life. I hope the answer to this next question is yes. I hope that Gordon can get his life figured out and get back on track and play again in the NFL. There's no guarantee of that, however. So make your prediction. Will Josh Gordon play again in the NFL? Type 1 for yes, he will, or type in 0 for no. Jayden Flores will have a better first season, Devontae Smith or Jalen Waddle. I feel better about the quarterback play for Jalen Waddle right now than I do Devontae Smith because I'm not a huge believer in Jalen Hurts. However, I think what is more likely is Devonta Smith ends up having a better season. I think that he is going to get a bigger target share than others, at least compared to Waddle. So, of the two, I'm going to lead with Devonta Smith ends up having the better season compared to Jalen Waddle. That's what I think ends up happening for that team. John Dorman, Allen Robinson, Keenan Allen, Mike Evans. Who is 1, 2, 3? I think I'm going to go with Keenan Allen because I just love his route running. It's a tough 1, 2, 3. I'll go Allen, Evans, Robinson. You could talk me into any order on that front. All three of those guys are legitimate wide receiver ones. For Hyper 3, who is the most underrated NFL player right now? Safety Jesse Bates. He is one of the best safeties, like top 3 or top 5, and he ain't 5, by the way. I think Jesse Bates should be viewed in this almost the same tier as a Justin Simmons, a Minkah Fitzpatrick, those guys. He doesn't get that hype, though. So I'm going to go Jesse Bates, the safety from the Cincinnati Bengals. From Rae Grange, best secondary. I think you have to, the first thing that comes to mind for me at least, the Denver Broncos have to be inside that conversation. They're deep at corner. They've got great safeties. I think Denver is at least in the top 3 there. I like the Giants secondary a lot. I like Washington secondary too. But I think that Denver is my pick. From Adam White, surprise team this year and biggest disappointment. Good question. From a positive standpoint, I don't know if it's fair to count the Patriots as a surprise team, but I think they're going to make a playoff push. I think disappointment-wise, maybe a team like Miami, if Tua's not good. There's a lot of hype around the Rams because they have Matthew Stafford. I need to see more out of them and Arizona Cardinals. There are 4 good teams in the NFC West. One of those teams will end up being a disappointment. ACB Collects. Who is the best safety in the NFL? When he's healthy, I'd say Derwin James. He can do anything on the field. So I love Derwin James too. When healthy, he is absolutely in that conversation. However, he hasn't been healthy very much, and I am very much worried about that. So having to factor in the health here, I'm going to go with Minkah Fitzpatrick. I think he is amongst a great group of safeties, Justin Simmons, Jesse Bates, Budda Baker, the list goes on and on and on and on and on. I think Minkah Fitzpatrick is the best one right now in the NFL. Top 5 NFL stadiums. Go Giants. Oh, jeez, I don't know. I've only been to a handful of them. I think Jerry World's certainly up there. I feel like Lambeau Field should be there just for like the brand, the whole side of it. I like Raymond James because of the cannons, the Bucs game. That's pretty fun there. I've heard good things about the Vikings Stadium. I've been to the Falcons one a lot. What's up, Jeremy? You can unmute yourself. Yeah,
I have a friend who's a Kansas City Chiefs fan. He says electric, one of the most electric environments he's ever been in.
All right, I could see Arrowhead being really good there. Okay, I think I forget what it's called right now. The Seahawks, it was CenturyLink, then they changed it. That one is a special stadium, so I'd say Arrowhead's in there. Heinz Field is too bad for me to include that. Worst stadium, Soldier Field, if only because of the All-22 footage is just garbage. From Gary Sanderson, coaches on the hot seat. I mean, I think Zach Taylor for the Bengals is a big one. If the Cardinals and Cliff Kingsbury don't make a real playoff run and or at least push, I think he ends up getting fired as well. I think Vic Fangio, Denver Broncos, if they miss the playoffs, even if the quarterback plays bad and it's not Fangio's fault, with a new regime in charge, he might end up being on the hot seat as well. For my burner account, who is the most overrated and underrated player in the NFL? Well, from an underrated perspective, I am a huge fan of Jesse Bates. He's not regarded as like the top 5, top 10, top whatever safety that he should be. Frankly, he's top 5, and he ain't 5 on that list. I am a big-time believer in Jesse Bates, the Bengals safety. From an overrated perspective, the people who, I like to go quarterbacks here. Matthew Stafford leaves the Lions and goes to the Rams and is now top 6 quarterback. Doesn't make any sense to me. That's a pretty he's good. He's in that top 10 conversation, but he's not 6 as far as I'm concerned. Other overrated players, geez. I think Sam Darnold, people believing in him, I don't agree with that. He's never been good in his NFL career. I'm sorry. There's no way around that there. Carson Wentz has seen his stock dip significantly, but I think that's a name that should probably be mentioned as well. You guys let me know what you think in the comments section. From Jordan Maloney, who are your top 3 defensive tackles to start the season? So I'm going interior guys only. Number 1, unquestionably, is Aaron Donald. There's no way around it. He is the best player in the NFL right now, outside of perhaps Patrick Mahomes. Number 2, I'm going to go with Chris Jones of the Chiefs. After that, it gets a little bit tough. I think DeForest Buckner, Cam Hayward, Fletcher Cox, Jeffrey Simmons, and I'd also want to throw in Quinnen Williams inside that conversation. I think he's going to have a huge year, but he's probably not top 3 right now. So I'll go with DeForest Buckner over Hayward and Cox barely.